Welcome to our English video channel, where words come to life and stories unfold. Join us on a journey through the vast and enchanting world of literature, language, and creativity. From book reviews to writing tips, from poetry readings to author interviews, we are here to inspire, educate, and entertain you with the power of words. Let's explore the beauty and magic of the English language together. Stay tuned for a literary adventure like no other. As a child, hugging and kissing before leaving the house was never a normal routine in my family. Showing affection has never been my field of interest, and I was surprised to find while visiting a friend's house that other families repeatedly made their love known for one another on a daily basis. Until my junior year of high school, I did not understand the true meaning of a family. After a traumatic high school experience, I now believe in telling my mom I love her before leaving the house. While attending high school at Mercy Academy, I formed strong bonds with other girls in my graduating class. The pain felt by one person in my circle of friends was pain felt by everyone. If one girl was upset, everyone was upset. It was not until one bitter cold day of April 21st, 2020 that our friendship would truly be tested. The heartbreaking news was received through a text message at 11 a.m. as my friends and I sat down for lunch. My best friend Catherine was absent from school that day. I was not aware that the reason for her absence would affect her for the rest of her life. Her 46-year-old mother had passed away due to complications of pneumonia. No words were spoken as tears welled up in our eyes, and our expressionless faces stared off into space. As the shock finally set in 10 minutes later, my friend Olivia and I fell to the floor sobbing. I could not understand why Catherine's mother was taken away from her family so soon. Her death was so sudden and unexpected. I was sad because that a person as thoughtful and kind as Catherine and her 3 siblings were left motherless. I left school early that day, hoping to find comfort within my own family. The minute I received the call from Catherine telling me she was at her aunt's house, I thought she would break down, and I rushed over to console her and the rest of her family. Not once did I see her cry that day. Looking into her weary eyes, it was not until she explained why that I understood. Almost too much pain to handle. The first words she spoke to me that day were, "I'm okay, she loved me." The puzzled look on my face must have explained the confusion I was feeling, because she began telling me what happened to her mom. She had been in and out of the hospital for weeks due to bronchitis, which later turned into pneumonia. She was finally stabilized for a full 2 days before the family received a phone call at 2 in the morning to come say their goodbyes. The last words Catherine spoke to her mom were, "I love you." Not only were these words spoken in the hospital room right before her mother's death, but also before Catherine's mom left their house for the last time. These words were exchanged among the family, not knowing that she would never return. She was expected to return home alive and healthy a week later, but she never did. Catherine's mother left this world knowing that her 4 children and her husband loved her. She left her family unexpectedly, yet each of them understood that she loved all of them with her whole heart. Although she would never see her mom again, Catherine was not crying because she knew her and her mom loved one another. This was the exact moment I began to wonder, what if this had been my mom instead of hers? If my mom were to leave this world today, does she know I love her? Knots formed in my stomach as I realized each time I left my house without telling my mom I loved her could have been the last time I would ever say goodbye. Every time I stormed out of the house angry at her could have been the last time I would ever see her again, and I would have lived the rest of my life with regret. Losing a loved one is a painful experience in itself, but losing someone you love without letting them know how you feel is an entirely different story. I walked towards my mom sitting at the kitchen table, and as she looked up from reading the newspaper, I wrapped my arms around her and hugged her as tight as I knew how. I told her I loved her for the first time since I could remember. As she looked at me, shocked, she replied with the same words. I left my house that morning knowing she loved me and I loved her. Since Catherine's mother's death, I have yet to leave the house without telling my mom. Goodbye. Life comes with no warnings and no guarantees. I cannot predict the future, and it is impossible to know when someone will be taken from this world. I now know my mom and I love each other, and if she were to die tomorrow, she knows how much she means to me. Often there are people in our lives that we take for granted. Leaving them and not saying goodbye is okay until the day that they are unexpectedly gone, and goodbye is no longer an option. I no longer run out the door without reassuring my mom that I care with a simple goodbye and a kiss on the cheek. I believe in telling my mom I love her before leaving the house, because I will never be sure when that small goodbye will be the last. These words. Traumatic, shocking. Absence without. Complications, difficulties. Stared off to look. Sobbing, noisy crying. Unexpected, sudden. Console, to relieve. Weary eyes, tired. Knots, tying a rope. Entirely, totally. Funeral, finally, disposition ceremony. Wrapped, fold as a cover.
Repeat with me.
Let's learn these words. Traumatic, shocking. Absence without. Complications, difficulties. Stared off to look. Sobbing, noisy crying. Unexpected, sudden. Console, to relieve. Weary eyes, tired. Knots, tying a rope. Entirely, totally. Funeral, finally, disposition ceremony. Wrapped, fold as a cover.